Hi everyone, Steve here back on the SoCal N Scale Layout, and welcome back to another layout update. Last layout update was number 4, done just before the new year on December 28th, so we're due for a layout update. Not a whole lot has changed on the layout. There are some changes, and actually did some repairs in a couple spots. I'll show you guys what I did, but a lot of the work's kind of been concentrated on a few areas, so it might not seem like a lot for an update, but it's been a lot for me. So let's go to the layout and take a look, see where we've been. This is layout update number 5, and welcome back.
All right, one of the first things I ended up doing was this piece of track here running around to about the other side over there. I ended up replacing that entire piece. And the reason I did that is when I first started the layout, that reversing loop was the first section of track I put down. And I used some old adhesive. Came out of the tube. It wasn't really, it was questionable, and I put it down. I shouldn't have. So lesson learned, or tip of the day, whatever you want to say. If it's $2 or $3 tube of clear adhesive and it's old, maybe questionable, just get rid of it and get a new one. It's definitely it's worth your time and do it right the first time. So what I ended up having to do was I had to pull this track from here around to where kind of where those wires are, and I ended up what was happening was the adhesive, I guess because it was the old adhesive. I use clear adhesive to glue my track down. I don't put glue down. I don't use nails anymore. I find the nails damage the track. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't have very good luck with nails, so I use clear adhesive, and it works great. It's a very thin layer you put down, and then I'll put the track on top of it and weigh it down. But what was happening under here, and it wasn't really this section, it was further under over here. There was a section of track that was popping up. The adhesive was kind of, I guess, just wasn't very strong because it was old, and that adhesive was allowing the track to kind of bounce up in some spots, and it was causing me a slight derailment with a locomotive. It didn't happen initially, but then later on, I guess over time, that piece of track started popping up. And I tried repairing it. I tried getting in there and gluing it down a few more times. But it just, I don't know, it just wasn't cooperating. So I said, hey, let me just go ahead and cut out a section and redo it from scratch. So luckily it wasn't too hard to get to. That's why I haven't done any of the scenery yet, so I can still get to, my track work if needed. But this section right here is still, the high line for UP is still removable. I can actually, those aren't glued to the riser, so I could actually pop that up and get in there to work on that. So that was a new piece of track, new feeders. Well, not really new feeders, but new connections and all that stuff. And it's running a lot smoother under there now, so no more issues. So it was a crisis averted before I ended up putting any kind of scenery down, but yeah, all good there so far. All right, so after I replaced that track under that reversing loop under Sullivan's Curve, I had an issue over here where right here at these points I had a locomotive that, every time the locomotives would travel over there, it was short. And I was sitting there thinking, well, I didn't do anything other than change those existing feeders that were underneath there. So I thought, there's no way it's just coincidence. There's no way the wiring I put back under Sullivan's Curve on that reversing loop had anything to do with this, because it's a separate circuit. So anyway, I found it was shorting here at this section, or these frogs, and these are Atlas insulated, I guess they're insulated turnouts. They're the number 7s. And what happened was, through some help online, asking some questions, I thought just maybe a switch had gone bad. But this piece of track right here, it shifted a little bit, and there's a natural gap in the mold, I guess, or the way these are made. Maybe when I connected it here at some point, it pushed it up on this a little bit, and over time, it was touching. So I had this rail touching here, and obviously this rail is different polarity, so it was creating a short anytime the locomotive wheel sets would hit this. So just a tip I'm throwing in there. If you guys have a turnout that's not working the way it should, I was ready to rip this turnout out and replace it, and I said, well, let me ask online. And through some help, a few people chimed in process of elimination, with some of those tips that they were suggesting. We found that, actually a gentleman, I forget his name now, he actually said check these points because it looked like one was very close. And sure enough, I just took a pair of, flat pliers and let me see if I can get I just took this rail right here and slid it back to the right a little bit, so there was no longer a points were touching, and fixed the problem. So didn't have to replace a turnout, and no more shorts. So just sharing that with you if you need it. Hopefully it helps you guys. It helped me. So, but yeah. All right, so moving down Cajon, from Cajon down towards Blue Cut. This was kind of where we left off on the track last time, right around here. We had the track, I think, ending right there, and then the sub road bed went a little bit further. So right now, the two tracks, we have mains 1 and 2 in. Main 3, there's the closer track, it is not in yet. I have not started main 3 or the UP Highline just because I don't have enough concrete flex track right now. But yeah, the sub road bed is in at, from Blue Cut down to Keenbrook, and that's about where the sub road bed ends for now. And then I'm getting ready to start putting this track for mains 1 and 2. I'm getting ready to put that in here and bring it on down to Keenbrook. So, and you see all my equipment ready to move on. And one thing I also have done is I have got the bus in from Keenbrook up to Blue Cut. I still have to drop some feeders in this block, but the bus is in. And before, this was my just kind of where I temporarily had the temporary command station I was using to test track and things like that, but that's actually now been moved here, and this will kind of be, this area right here will kind of be like a central spot for my command station. Probably going to build like some type of shelf or drawer back here, little workstation, and have like a monitor here where I can use JMRI and things like that, connecting to the track. But this will kind of be the central hub for all my DCC equipment, or at least the bulk of it that's not spread out on the layout. And then I can actually have my PM42 feeding my helix, one district feeding my upper level, another 2 to my yard or lower staging areas. So, but yeah, I still got to build that up, but temporarily now we've got the bus, everything feeding into the bus here, and it's the temporary DCC system is here until we get the Digitrax out of the box and installed. All right, and then this is what has been taking up the bulk of my time. This is my helix that brings, obviously, you can see the 3 mains back there. This will be DeVore. Probably the cargo grain elevator will be in here. That's the 3 mains that will start making their climb in the helix and come up to the upper level. And then the SP line will actually run through here and then join in the helix. I started this helix, I think, about the 1st or 2nd week of January, and it's now mid-February, and I've just reached the final level with sub road bed. I've kind of got the where the sub road bed, the top layer or top level ends, and now I've kind of got that transition to the upper level just mocked up. So I'm going to take this down real quick so I can kind of show you how I did my helix. So be back in a second. Alright, we're back. I took down that temporary the mock-up of my transition from the upper level of the helix to the upper level of the layout. So I kind of want to show you guys what I did. So my helix is four tracks wide. There's 3 of the BNSF line, which are main 3, 2, 1, and then this is the UP-SP high line. This section right here, oops, these are just these aren't glued down yet. But this track right here isn't glued down. It pretty much ends right about here. This is what's glued. So each level has feeders. They're soldered. Connections are soldered, and this is half-inch plywood. And then I've just once I got my initial grade, that first pass, I just went ahead and put these risers in on the outside 2.5. I think they're 2.5 inches, and then on the inside they're 2 1/4 to kind of give it a slight, to kind of elevate the track on the outer rails a little bit. So I've been running the locomotives up it. I've run them up both directions, down, forward, or down, forward, down, reverse, up, forward, up, reverse, and I think I've got all the bugs worked out. Had a few, not too many, so it's been actually going pretty well, knock on wood. But what I did was I painted the undersides of the helix, and that way, if later on I ever need to paint my benchwork for moisture issues, it's already done. Kind of got a good coat of paint on the inside. Same with the outside, and then this is just what this was I didn't want to cork the track. I didn't want to use regular cork for road bed, so I used this. I don't like putting track directly on wood either. It seems like you get a little bit of noise. So what I did was I used this. It was toolbox liner, and it's very thin. This is a little bit coming up here, but I just need to put it back down. It's very thin toolbox liners, and I used it on my old layout for some of like my sidings and things like that, where I wanted the track to sit a little bit lower, but didn't want it directly on the wood. So it's not as high a profile as cork, but it does the same job when it comes to insulating. And I just would cut it to shape, glue it down, and move on to the next section. So, but yeah, the helix. This took me about, I would say, about a month to do from start to finish. Other than the frame that I already had, I think I've been going on this helix for about a month, and that's working a few nights a week on it, and a little bit on the weekends here and there. Probably more on the weekends, but let me get in there and I'll show you guys the wiring. All right, so I'm inside my helix. That's where the wiring will actually come in the bus from the PM42. This is the initial start in here, and then what I did was I have all the white wires are just the common or the neutral wire, and then the red wires will be the ones going through my resistors for block detection. And each level kind of has its own. What I did was on the white ones, I just did them by level, and then the red ones I did by line. So main 3, main 2, main 1, and then the UP line, and they all have a resistor coming off them. The terminal boards are just to feed the each line, and then I have a resistor coming off that'll be used, an RR Circuits resistor for detection with the Watchmans. So, but this is the inside of the helix. I'm looking. I can actually sit in here. I'm sitting on my little roll around stool, and there's my 5 levels. and that's where we're at. So I can actually get in here. If I have an issue, I can get to it from the inside. So if I want to put some fascia on the outside, which I probably will, I'll have some removable panels on the outside. That way, I can still get to it from the inside if I need to. And then, unless I really have to get to something, I can leave the outside panels on and kind of leave them alone. So, kind of cool. It's not the prettiest helix, but it was my first, and I think it's so far it's pretty strong, pretty sturdy. While I'm under here, I've also started to show you guys. I've started replacing those type legs right there, which were just temporary ones. I've started replacing them with these. They're 1x4s with 1x2s glued and screwed to the back side of them. I manufacture them, and then once I have them cut to shape and everything, I'll build them, and I'm changing out these other ones here. These were just temporary, kind of generic, cheap ones to start out with, just to get the framing up. And they actually did okay, but they're not the sturdiest. They wobble a little bit, and I could probably stop that, but I actually kind of like the way and the support these things have. But that's my helix, and that's pretty much where all my work's been going for the last month. So that's why you guys haven't had any updates. And one final update, I just started slowly putting in some of the bench work, I guess, or the sub road bed for the lower level. I've started. The reason I'm doing it like this is because these sections will eventually come apart if I ever have to move. So I've been the plywood, I'm cutting it in to where if I ever have to pull apart a section, that plywood's cut to match the bench work underneath it. So this is 3/4 inch plywood. It's very, very strong, very sturdy. I've been going starting to put that in so I can kind of start mapping out the lower level, the yard, how I'm going to do that, staging, that type of stuff. So probably got about half of it done. Still got to get this corner done. This will involve some cutting, and then I'm going to have a little access hatch there that if I need to ever get there in Sullivan's Curve for access, I can get underneath and actually stand up in that back of Sullivan's Curve. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. I think I'm going to end up having maybe like a facility on top of it or something, so that way it hides it. It's just a little pop out hatch. But yeah, for now, that's kind of where I'm at with the bench work on the bottom. And eventually I'm going to have this finished over here, and then I can start kind of bringing those 3 mains and that UP line around and getting those connected, so we can run trains not just on the upper level but down the helix and to the lower level. So hopefully the next layout update you guys see, the helix will be done and operational. Again, it's already wired. It's just a matter of getting everything connected, the top to the final level and the last bit of track down. So I was debating on doing this update now or waiting till the helix was done, but I kind of wanted to show you guys a little bit of the helix before I put the top level on, and just kind of how I've been doing it along the way. So but yeah, hopefully in the next update this will be connected. The track will be in here, and we'll be running trains there down the helix and maybe out here, and then until we get the yard done, well, I may end up just having a temporary reversing loop here. I don't know yet. We'll see. So, but anyway, that's the layout update for now. I apologize. It's a little bit short. Not a whole lot really has changed so much as running trains and things like that. But hey, we're getting there a little bit at a time. So I appreciate you guys following. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, whatever. If you guys want to keep getting those updates, or like the channel, and hit that bell notification to get the updates. So until next time, we'll see you guys, and thanks for stopping in.